ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Good morning. Today's topic is interhalogens. So let us try to understand what are interhalogens. Interhalogens are binary compounds. Interhalogens are binary compounds of halogen. Binary compounds of halogens. So as you can see, binary means two. It's a compound formed by two different elements of halogen. That means two different halogens combine to form a binary compound which we call it as interhalogen. So interhalogen only has two different halogens, not more than two halogens. So two different elements of halogen. So it's a binary compound of halogen formed by combination of two different halogens. By combining two different halogens, we call them as interhalogen. They can be represented with general formula AXN. This is the general formula. A represent one halogen, X represent another halogen. So what is A? A is larger halogen with lower electronegativity. A represent a larger halogen atom with a lower electronegativity. X represent smaller halogen atom with higher electronegativity. So let us take one example, say ClF. Here chlorine is one halogen, fluorine is another halogen. So chlorine and fluorine combine to form ClF. I can call this binary compound as interhalogen. In this, chlorine is larger halogen. Compared to fluorine, the electronegativity of chlorine is less. Therefore Cl is represented by letter A. Coming to F is smaller halogen. Compared to chlorine, F is smaller halogen and it is more electronegative. So F is represented by letter X. Now what is this N? N is a number which is equal to either 1, 3, 5, 7. N is a number which is 1, 3, 5, 7. Right? So N is always odd. The reason is the interhalogens, they are diamagnetic in nature. So what is a diamagnetic compound? A compound in which all the electrons are paired. So what is the meaning of this? If I take one halogen, take any halogen, the general electronic configuration is ns2np5. So if I write the outer electronic configuration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see there is a unpaired electron or odd electron. So each halogen has one unpaired electron. When two halogens combine, this unpaired electron becomes paired up. So if I take AXN, if N is 1, that is AX, one halogen, another halogen. So two unpaired electrons, they pair up, thereby it becomes diamagnetic in nature. If I take 3, AX3, so this has one unpaired electron, 3 halogens has 3 unpaired electrons. So this in first excited state has 3 unpaired electrons. 3 unpaired electrons of A forms 3 bonds with 3 X atoms. Thereby all the electrons are paired up. Thereby it becomes diamagnetic. Similarly, AX5, AX7. So once again, interhalogens are diamagnetic. Therefore, that means all the electrons are paired up. That is why N is always odd. It can be 1, it can be 3, it can be 5, it can be 7. So if I substitute here, what I will get? AX3. If N is 5, AX5. if N is 7, AX 7. So if I write the examples, AX type of interhalogen, ClF, ICl, AX3, ClF3, BrF3, AX5, BrF5, IF5, AX7, IF7. So these are some examples for each type of interhalogens: AX, AX3, AX5, AX7. Right, let us proceed. Now, here around A is central atom, the larger halogen atom is central atom, X is bonded to central atom. 3 halogens are bonded to larger halogen atom. 5 smaller halogens are bonded to larger central atom. 7 halogens, 7 smaller halogens are bonded to larger central atom. What factor decides the number of halogens surround central atom? Or this we call it as coordination number. Coordination number. The number of smaller halogen atoms surrounding central halogen atom depends upon 2 factors. One is a radius ratio. And the second one is difference in electronegativity between halogen atoms. So these 2 factors decides. What is radius ratio? Radius ratio is nothing but radius of larger halogen atom radius of smaller halogen atom. So it is a ratio of radius of larger halogen atom to that of radius of smaller halogen atom. Now, as you can see, if the numerator, that is radius of larger halogen atom, what is larger halogen atom here? Larger halogen atom is nothing but A. If the size of A is more, then the space around it or the volume available is more, then you can add more number of halogens, more number of smaller halogens. So, if radius ratio and electronegativity difference is high, when you will get more electronegativity difference, if I write fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Fluorine on Pauling scale, its electronegativity is 4, chlorine 3, this is around 2.8, this is 2.5, 4, 3, 2.8, 2.5. Between which atoms the electronegativity difference is more? The answer is fluorine and iodine. If I take the ratio, radius of iodine to that of radius of fluorine, this radius ratio will be high and electronegativity difference will be high. In this case, then which type of interhalogens are formed? AX5, AX7 type of interhalogens are formed. If radius ratio and difference in electronegativity between halogen atom is more, then interhalogens of type AX5, AX7 are formed. What is the reason? Since its size is more, then you can accommodate more smaller halogen atoms. When I come to chlorine, its size is more, it occupies more space. Although the size is more, but since chlorine size is increasing, I cannot accommodate larger chlorine atoms as I have accommodated fluorine, because fluorine is smaller than chlorine. Therefore, in order to form AX5, AX7 type of interhalogen, the radius ratio value must be high and difference in electronegativity between halogen atoms should be high. What happens if both of them are low? If both of them are less, then interhalogens of type AX, AX3 are formed. So once again, if radius ratio and difference in electronegativity between halogen atom is less, then interhalogen atom of type AX, AX3 are formed. If radius ratio and difference in electron negativity between halogen atoms are high, then interhalogen of type AX5, AX7 are formed. Coming to naming, how do you name them? They are named as halide of central halogen atom. Halide of central halogen atom. So let us see one example. ClF. So which is larger halogen atom? Chlorine. Which is smaller halogen atom? Fluorine. Therefore they are called as fluoride. They are called as fluorides. So how to name this? Halide of central halogen atom. So central halogen atom is chlorine. So it is named as chlorine monofluoride. This should be halide. Halide. Fluorine is the halide, therefore fluoride. Chlorine monofluoride. Chlorine monofluoride. Suppose if I write like this, ICl3, then so here larger halogen atom is iodine, central atom is iodine, 3 chlorine, smaller atoms are chlorine, right? So trichloride, it becomes iodine trichloride. So this is how you have to name it. Now let us see the preparation here itself. How do you prepare? We combine two halogens directly. Upon heating, you will get interhalogen. That is one method. The other method is we take a halogen, we take lower interhalogen, combine them to get higher interhalogen. Once again, first method, we take two halogens, mix them, heat them, you will get interhalogen. Or we take a halogen, combine with lower interhalogen like AX or AX3 to get higher interhalogen. Let us see examples. Cl2 plus F2, around 200 degrees you will get 2 ClF. Next, Cl2 plus 3F2 gives upon heating 3 ClF. 2 3 6 together, ClF3. Or you can take fluorine plus ClF3. Upon heating, what we get is ClF5, Cl. In the first case, two different halogen mixed. Upon heating, you will get interhalogen. Here also same story, but compared to here, we have mixed them 1:1 ratio. Here we are taking excess fluorine, so you will get a higher interhalogen. This is of interhalogen type AX. Here you will get AX3 because you are taking excess fluorine. Coming to the third example, a halogen is mixed with interhalogen, lower interhalogen AX3 type to get AX5 type, higher interhalogen. So coming to some more example, let us see some I2 plus Cl2 in 1:1 ratio, we get 2 ICl, iodine monochloride, or you can take bromine also, bromine 3F2, what we get is BrF, okay, bromine Br2H, so 2 BrF3, bromine trifluoride. Heating. But if you combine iodine and fluorine, generally at low temperature 20 degrees Celsius, you will get iodine monofluoride, right? If you want higher fluorides, you have to heat them around 200 to 300 degrees Celsius. So iodine itself form only iodine forms IF7 because to accommodate 7 fluorine atoms, the size of central atom should be large enough. That is only possible for iodine. So IF7 or AX7 type of interhalogens are formed only by combination of iodine and fluorine. Right, so this is about preparation methods. Right, now let us study some properties. All interhalogens are covalent molecules. Mostly they are covalent molecules. Let us see why. Just now I have written the electronegativity fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Electronegativity 4, 3. This is around 2.8, this is 2.5. So if I combine, for example, ClF, the electronegativity difference, this is 4 and this is 3. Electronegativity difference is 1, right? Similarly, if I take BrF3 or bromine fluorine bond, right? So this is 4, 2.8. Whether even if I take iodine and chlorine, fluorine and iodine, this is 4, 2.5. The nature of the bond will be ionic if the electronegativity difference between two atoms is greater than 1.7. But here it will be less than 1.7. So mostly they are covalent in nature. Because of high electronegativity of halogen atoms, the bonded electrons are almost equally shared between them. However, there is some difference. Therefore, they may be slightly polar, but they do not carry any net charge. For example, if I take ICl, it may dissociate into I plus and Cl minus because of more difference in electronegativity. But if I take chlorine fluorine, right, or chlorine bromine, they are mostly covalent in nature. So all interhalogens are covalent molecules. They are diamagnetic. So just now I have explained each halogen has one unpaired electron. When this halogen combine, all the electrons to form interhalogens, all the electrons are paired up. So in interhalogens, since all the electrons are paired up, right, since there is no unpaired electron, they are diamagnetic in nature. They are volatile solids or liquids except ClF, because ClF itself is a gas. First, volatile, that means easily vaporized solids or liquids, right. So first thing, they are solids and liquids because their size is more. If the size is more, the surface area is more. If the surface area is more, you can expect stronger van der Waals forces of attraction. So mostly they are solids or liquids. They are volatile because between two molecules weaker van der Waals forces exist. So the energy required to overcome weaker van der Waals forces is less, therefore they are volatile compounds. Now can we expect any other stronger interactions like dipole-dipole or dipole-induced dipole? The answer is no. The reason is they are covalent molecules. Why they are covalent? Because of less difference in electronegativity of bonded atoms. There is some difference, but the difference is not sufficient enough to create the partial charges so that we can consider dipole-dipole interactions or dipole ion interactions. Hence, here we explain the volatile nature based upon weak van der Waals forces. Next, they have slightly high melting point, boiling points than corresponding halogens. So why they have slightly high melting and boiling point? Slightly high means very little. The reason is again difference in the electronegativity. If I take for example ClF and Cl. Now this is interhalogen, this is pure halogen. If I take halogen atoms, halogen molecule, the two atoms are identical. If the two atoms are identical, their electronegativity is same. Here it is 3, here it is 3. So they are perfectly covalent and non-polar in nature. Coming to here, 3, 4. They are covalent, but they possess, there is some little difference in the electronegativity, because of which they possess slightly higher melting and boiling point compared to the pure halogens. They are more reactive. They are more reactive than halogen. So why they are more reactive than halogen? Of course, there is one exception, except F2. F2 is more reactive. Fluorine is highly reactive, right? Because of high electronegativity. But if I take interhalogens are more reactive than other pure halogens except F2. Why they are more reactive? If I take an interhalogen compound, AX bond, and if I take XX, except fluorine, other halogens, which bond is easy to break? The answer is AX bond, because of difference in the electronegativity, because of difference in the overlapping of the orbital, because of difference in the size, of bonded halogens, the extent of overlapping is different. But here same halogen atoms are there, the extent of overlapping is good, thereby the energy required to break X2 bond is higher than AX. So in simple language, AX bond is weaker than XX bond. That means it is easy to break AX bond compared to XX bond. That is why interhalogens are more reactive than X2 except F2. F2 is more easy to break because of small size of atoms. What happens? There is a lot of repulsions and expected bond length is greater than observed bond length. So it has lesser bond energy. So that is why F2 is more reactive. Right. Once again, interhalogens are more reactive than pure halogens because AX bond is weaker than XX bond. Next point. All interhalogens undergo hydrolysis. Interhalogens undergo hydrolysis. So what is the meaning of this? Right. Suppose if I take AX and subject it to hydrolysis, right, whether it is AX, AX3, AX5, AX7, right, always you will get halide ion of smaller halogen. First point, you will get halide ion of smaller halogen. And in the case of AX, along with this you will get hypohalite if AX is hydrolyzed, halide ion if AX3 is hydrolyzed, halide ion if AX5 is hydrolyzed, perhalide ion if AX7 is hydrolyzed. Once again, take any interhalogen compound, upon hydrolysis you will always get one halide ion of smaller halogen. This is common for all these. The other one, if I take AX, if AX is hydrolyzed, the other larger halogen contains hypohalate or is present in hypohalate. If it is AX3, the larger halogen forms halate ion. If it is AX5, the larger halogen forms halate ion. If it is AX7, the larger halogen forms perhalate ion. Already we have studied the meaning of hypohalite. Already we have studied the meaning of hypohalate formula, halate ion formula, perhalate ion formula. So one example I would like to give, let us say AX upon hydrolysis. Now A is larger halogen, X is smaller halogen. So X forms what? Halide ion. So HX plus HOA. So let us take one example, CLF. So smaller halogen is F. So halide fluoride ion, that is nothing but HF. Larger halogen forms hypohalate, nothing but hypochlorite. So hypochlorous acid. If I write hypochlorous acid, that is the answer. So let us study the hybridization structures, etc. So first AX. So the central atom is A. So hybridization, electronic configuration NS2 NP5. In ground state, anyway, A cannot be fluorine. Fluorine cannot be the central atom. Right. So A will be either chlorine, bromine or iodine. In chlorine, in bromine, in iodine there are empty d orbitals. In chlorine, bromine, iodine there are empty d orbitals. So in ground state, so this is the situation, right? This is the electronic configuration NS2 NP5. How many unpaired electrons you have? 1. 1 unpaired electrons. So these are the electrons of A. So there is 1x. 1x forms 1 bond, 1 electron. This is x electron. I am writing the bond x. So now what happens? These 3 are lone pairs, 1, 2, 3, and this is one bond pair. So what is the hybridization? SPPP. The hybridization will be sp3. So it has it has 3 lone pairs plus 1 bond pair. 3 lone pairs, 1 bond pair. Hybridization is sp3. What is the shape? Linear. So the shape is linear. So coming to the bonding, hybridization of AX3. So A is the central atom. So 3 halogens, that means you require 3 unpaired electrons. In the ground state, it has only 1 unpaired electron. So you have to go for first excited state. So sorry, I would like to write ground state, then I will go for first excited state now. So there are 3 unpaired electrons. Now 3x, this is 1, 2, 3. So this is 1x, another x, another x. So what is the hybridization? As you can see, SPPPD, sp3d hybridization, sp3d hybridization. These are 2 lone pairs, 2 lone pairs. These 3 are bond pairs, 3 bond pairs. So hybridization is sp3d with 2 lone pairs and 3 bond pairs. So the possible structure is T shape. Here AX5, the central atom is A. A is bonded to 5 halogen atoms, that means it requires A must possess 5 unpaired electrons. In the first excited state, how many unpaired electrons we came across? 3. So to get 5, you have to go for second excited state. So ground state of A So directly I am writing second excited state of A. So in second excited state there are 5 unpaired electrons. So 5 halogens, first one, second, third, fourth, fifth. So X, 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 X. So 5 halogen forms 5 bonds. Right. So now hybridization S 3 p orbitals, 2 d orbitals. Therefore sp3d2, sp3d2. There is one lone pair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bond pairs. One lone pair, 5 bond pairs. Right. So the shape will be square pyramidal. This is a square pyramidal structure. Right, next AX7. The central atom is A, it is bonded to 7 smaller halogen atoms. So A must possess 7 unpaired electrons. In second excited state, it has 5 unpaired electrons. Then you have to go for, to get 7 unpaired electrons, you have to go for third excited state. So ground state of A. So directly I am writing third excited state of A. Right, 3 plus that. It has 7 unpaired electrons. 7 halogen form 7 sigma bonds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they are all bonded to 7 halogens. Right. So what is the hybridization? S P P P sp3 d3. Hybridization is sp3 d3. Right. So 7 bond pairs, 0 lone pairs, 7 bond pairs. So you will get pentagonal bipyramidal, pentagonal bipyramidal. Right. Pentagonal bipyramidal. So the first one is linear sp3 hybridization, second one sp3d AX3 sp3d hybridization T shape, AX5 sp3d2 square pyramidal, AX7 sp3d3 pentagonal bipyramidal. So coming to the uses, Interhalogens can be used as non-aqueous solvents. Non-aqueous solvents. So instead of water, these interhalogens can be used as non-aqueous solvent because they undergo self-ionization. For example, if I take ICl, it dissociates into I plus and Cl minus. So instead of water, to get a polar solvent, we can use interhalogens. Due to difference in the electronegativity, they can be dissociated into cation and anion. So can be used as non-aqueous solvents. Used as fluorinating agents. Used as fluorinating agents. So uranium can be fluorinated, ClF3. Use uranium hexafluoride and chloride. So used as non-aqueous solvents and fluorinating agents.